Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. And keep your back straight and neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra, just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to share some basic informations for yourself to develop very clear spiritual foundation with the meditation. Because when it comes to meditation, there are many techniques and there are many ways people keep practice. And at the same time, and out of this all, if you are not bring the ability to change to yourself, we're going to keep going through the same circle again and again and again. We no need to do that. So you have to very deeply and understand the very fundamental nature of life. Even though we see that the kind of like the same thing happen again and again, there is no repetition exactly the same thing. But what happened is, even though event change, even though outside change, even though ourselves change, we can't see that change. Our mind deeply conditioned, our mind deeply clouded, our mind deeply dusty. Because of that dusty, clouded, clinging mind, we go through the same kind of feelings, experience, but it exactly not the same. So understanding this is very important and bring the real change to yourself. So what is that real change mean? You change your point of view and deeply understand what is happening within us. So when it comes to that, the very fundamental quality of this all is our mind. So understanding the very nature of mind is the ultimate goal. When it comes to that today, we are going to look into that little bit. Only practice point of view, we're going to discuss this because it need to come through your own inner experience. But we can just give a kind of like guidelines and we can map it. But it is your personal responsibility to go the journey. So, but once you become very clear with the mapping, it is very easy for you to go the journey. So that's why we need this both. We need the conventional knowledge, we need the understanding, and at the same time we need the practice. So out of that all, you need to bring the transformation to yourself with the inner wisdom. So with that, we have to understand that we interpret, we bring this mind from different ways. As a sample, we talk about consciousness. So that also the mind. And we talk about the awareness, that also the mind. And we talk about mindfulness, that also the mind. So when it comes to mind, consciousness, awareness, mindfulness, so all this mean one thing. That is very fundamental quality of the mind. What is the very fundamental quality of mind? Is recognizing, knowing. So knowing is not about knowledge. So with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, in the very first level, with the mind, what happens, you recognize. When you see something, you recognize. When you hear, you recognize the sound. Smell, you recognize as a smell. Taste, you recognize as a taste. Feeling, you recognize it as a feeling. Thought, you recognize as a thought. It's very subtle, very deeply, fundamentally it happens. And the important thing you have to remember, these two things not going to happen at once. That's mean, even though while we seeing and hearing, this both not going to happen at the same time. So the mind take only one thing at one time. But what happened, little by little, it becomes so fast. And at the same time, what happens, that recognition right away going to overtake by the very conditioned mind. So we have very nature of the mind, but that nature of the mind, we already conditioned by a lot of things, ideas, thoughts, the views. And out of that conditioned mind, we have the delusion. So that delusion is like a cloud. So the very famous in even the Theravada Buddhism and even the Zen Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, even in the Vajrayana Buddhism, this all very broadly talk about this mind with the one example. It's like the sky. So just imagine, it's always there and you can't disturb it. But at the same time, how about when the clouds come? It's going to look like very cloudy, dark nature, but the sky is there. The clouds cannot overcome the sky. It cannot overtake the sky. It can be for a while, and then, but what happened, it's going to go away. So just imagine around you. Just imagine this room around this here like this. Underneath this, all the material things, there is a space. So without that space, these things cannot be here. But when you see these material things, tools and gadgetics and things, and you can't right away access to that empty space, but it is there. No one can overtake that. But still, if you become very careful and if you observe deeply, it is possible for you to understand that emptiness. So our mind, the very nature of our mind, the same. It itself have the one ability. That ability is knowing faculty. That's the only thing it has. Just know. But what happens? Once we condition with things, once the delusion happens, what we know come with different format. But the delusion, listen this very carefully. Listen, that the delusion is not inherent by the mind. That's why through practice, you can find that purity there. So in the very first level, what you need to do, to know that, to do, just imagine in this space, if we take again that example, you don't need to kind of like throw this everything, but still there is a ability yourself, you can know that emptiness. So like that, you have to remember, you should know that yourself, even though you know this lot of things, behind that all, in the very first level, underneath, fundamentally, you have this knowing ability. So, once you understand it, it brings the tranquility state to yourself. But the thing is this, when the mind gets deluded from the desires, what happens in the very first level, it start to flip, turn to something. So one is this, we're going to misunderstand. So this impermanence. And we start to recognize that the permanent things. And unsatisfactory nature, we start to understand as satisfaction. And selflessness, we start to take as self. So that is where all the drama start. Impermanence, we start to recognize as permanent. Selflessness, we start to recognize as self. Unsatisfactory nature, we start to take as satisfaction. And let's invite all the cloud, all the dust, all the mud. So, but still, the ability that you can hold it to that freedom is there, but still, once you have this delusion, what happens that out of your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, so the very nature of that, the knowing, but what happens, you start to define that things and you're going to get lost. You can get lost anywhere, anytime. So just imagine you're watching a movie, you get lost with the story. You're listening to, you're having a conversation, call, and then you get lost with some things. And you may be having dinner with others, you get lost with the taste. You go for a vacation, you get lost there. It's just not that we get lost in the middle of the deep jungle. Everywhere, sometimes we get lost. The most very famous, very familiar place for us to get lost in our mind, with our own thoughts. Seem sometimes many hours, you get lost and you don't know where you are, even though it is your house, Even though it is your home, it is your office, it is your workplace, or sometimes even it is our temple, or even your meditation posture, and you get lost. So that is the power of this delusion. But still, you have to remember, you can come back. Why? Because the very fundamental nature of the mind is purity. It's how the Buddha mentioned, to give a very beautiful example. It's kind of like radiant and pure. That is the very nature of the undisturbed mind. But what happens once the delusion is there, it brings another nature. So the very fundamental nature of the mind is knowing. But once the delusion there, what happens? It starts to transform to wanting mind. Always something want. It may out of your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, or bodily action, verbal action, mental action, always you come to a wanting mind. So you born with knowing mind, and when you have that knowing mind, you are so peaceful. You just be itself. And even no one going to disturb you. One shoe with that knowing mind. Just imagine. Not after 5, 6 days, when the very newly born baby, the very first day, very second day, the baby itself sleeping, complete. And then others don't want to disturb this newly born baby. And if somebody, don't disturb, baby sleeping. But after, little by little, this baby start to grow. You know what happened? That person not allow anyone to sleep sometimes. See, when we born, no one disturbed to us, and even ourselves so calm, relaxed. But little by little, this information, condition, this wanting mind, what happens? It pushes us to awake, and not only that, it pushes us to awake other people. And sometimes we awake other people. Oh, I want this, I want that. Let's go there, let's do this. We, disturb others. And sometimes, from far away from another country, and maybe middle of the night call, hey, what are you doing? Let's talk. See, this wanting mind, it can overcome, this entire world. So that's why, see, that meditation is the tranquility. That's why we have to practice this now, because this wanting mind we train from childhood, little by little, we train to gain. Now we develop the wanting mind. But the thing is, we lose the very fundamental quality of that knowing mind. Now, without knowing, we go and gain things. And sometimes we want. If you stop that person for a moment and ask, for what? You know what you want? And do you know what you really want? And then they back up. So that's why the meditation gives you the ability not to be crazy with this wanting mind, but to develop this very fundamental nature of knowing mind. So then remember yourself. Nothing wrong that you gain something. Because until we attain to the liberation, in this conventional life, we go with this material world. But deeply, your mind never going to be complete with gaining mind. It's not going to happen. More than us, there were a lot of people used to gain a lot of things from this world. You know, Genghis Khan, and he owned a lot of land. He was so powerful. And Alexander the Great, you know, and see that his last wishes, you know, one is keep open his hand to see everyone. After he died, he didn't take anything with him. You know? Because this wanting mind make us crazy. Even when it comes to meditation, I want peaceful mind, I want this, I want high mental power, I want to attain to liberation. That make you crazy. Sometimes. See, people go to retreat, you know, place to place, guru to guru, country to country, you know, the whole life become a mess. And they, you know, become unhappy with other people, and they criticize all the, you know, other people, and they everywhere they go, they want the liberation, but they start the fight with others. Why? Because this wanting mind make us blind. So that's why then yourself, remember, so look into you and see, when even for a moment, can you develop this knowing mind rather than be with the wanting mind? So then, when you, this is the another difference that you can see. The wanting mind always take you to somewhere or something or somebody. It doesn't matter, you know, it's always going to take you somewhere for something or somebody. Knowing mind will show you it's all right here. That's the two differences. That's why when you be with the knowing mind, anything is there with you. So then in the beginning, you can practice it. You can practice it, and you know that result you can gain. How? When the mind come to ask you want something, just think yourself, it is here. That's it. From the beginning, if you see that your mind start to come to different level. If you start to think it's somewhere with something or somebody, it always ignite this volcanic fire. But when it come to you, if you want something, and if you know it's here, there is nowhere to go. So develop that within yourself. Bring it to you day by day, day by day. So in the beginning, so then what will happen to you? That the cloudy mind start to disappear when you are developing the ability to hold it to knowing mind. So the wanting mind always develop the ability to clinging, grasping, searching. We say the most, the strong, powerful search engine is the Google. No, your mind is the most powerful search engine. It's always with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, and everywhere searching. So that's why the knowing mind withdraw from that searching and allow you to settle down. And that ability will release you from all the condition. That is the important thing. Because this conventional life, when you remember this, when you want something, it always going to condition your mind. So if you depending from the conditioned mind, you will never find the peace, security, happiness, tranquility state, so kind of like that. And no one like to be conditioned. Everybody like freedom. The most important thing is your mind. It doesn't work with this condition. So that's why the deeply this suffering arises with the satisfaction, because whatever the satisfaction we gain, it come out of the wanting mind, and the wanting mind slowly condition our mind. So when that come to us, even though on the surface level it look like a satisfaction, it always going to end with the suffering. So that is why this understanding unsatisfactory nature is because it's nothing wrong with anything, but the thing is, we have to understand the very nature of things. So then, have unconditioned mind. So the knowing itself is the only thing that you can gain out of unconditioned mind. Just know. Just know, that's it. That is the pure ability of mind. And that is the ultimately, fundamentally going to fulfill the very behavior of the mind. But now what happens? We go with grasping, holding, clinging, gaining, and then we have to pay for that. So that always going to become a struggle. So the new self, just know there is a possibility yourself. Always. That's why even 1 second, learn to just know. During whatever the things, during the day, at any time, if you have a very free time, free moment, don't interfere to do something. Just know yourself with the moment. Whatever you see, hear, smell, don't try to define it. Don't try to interpret it. Don't try to bring many kind of ideas. Don't try to categorize it. Don't try to condition it. Don't try to shape it with your opinions. Just know it. And then you will see that moment of experience. If you are capable to expand. Because in the very beginning, you have to come to that spectrum. In the very beginning, you have to touch that flux or the web, the mental, the state. And in that very moment, you will see. that empty space. Even though this everything here, that empty space is going to be here and it is untouchable. And this anything cannot disturb it. By the time this all going to go away, but that empty space is going to be there. So like that, this knowing nature is there. But now the wanting nature drive us crazy here and there. And that knowing nature is, we can't see. So, but still, practicing little by little will give you this ability. So, the meditation is the method or the pattern or the path take you to that knowingly nature. So even though that you know this now and start to practice in day-to-day life, take a moment. Just be with little bit. And withdraw from this all the wanting mind. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now with your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So scan head to toes yourself and say Supatveva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. So when it happens through the sensation, recognize it and do nothing extra. So rather than developing wanting mind, so this is the time you're going to practice with knowing mind. Bring my attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, the stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward, visualize yourself and send it as a light and expand the capacity little by little.